Hello everyone, welcome to the first chapter of the Adobe Illustrator Masterclass. I'm excited to teach you about all the fantastic tools that Illustrator has to offer. In this chapter, you're going to learn about the basic interface, how to create document and artwork, set up the workspace, and how to use shortcut keys. So without further ado, let's get started. Welcome to the very first Illustrator lesson. So when you first open up Illustrator, this is exactly what you will see. I'm currently using the 2024 version. If you're using a different version, the interface is going to look pretty similar, okay? So first thing first, let's click on the New File button on the upper left corner. Now a window will pop up and Illustrator is going to ask you to set up your document. As you can see here, you have a list of templates and presets to choose from. Here you have mobile templates, which are all standard dimension and templates to start a new project. You also have web templates, print, film and video, as well as art and illustration templates. So go ahead and explore all the templates that you need. Next, click on the web option and select the 1280 by 800 pixel templates. Now let's go to the project details and set a name for our project. So I'm just going to put project 1. So here you can adjust the width and the height. And if you click on this drop-down menu, you can choose to measure in pixel, millimeters, and so on. You can also change the orientation, whether you want it to be horizontal or vertical. Here you can also decide how many artboards that you want. And here's the bleed section that you can adjust the bleed. Next, you can also change the color mode, RGB for digital and CMYK for printing. And the raster effect allows you to change the pixel. PPI stands for pixel per inch. The higher the PPI, the better the image quality. So for these settings, I'm going to select 72 PPI. Alright, so copy these settings. Whenever you're ready, click Create. And here's the blank document based on the project details that you have created. Now, Illustrator is made up of 5 key sections. So starting with the menu bar, this is the main navigation bar where you can find all the function in Illustrator. Moving on just below, you have the option bar. This area displays specific option for the tool that you are currently using. Next, you have the Tools panel. Here is where you can find all the tools for editing graphics. Your pen tool, eyedropper tool, and so on. So think of it like a toolbox. Next, the document area is where we edit the images. Basically, this is your canvas. And lastly, you have panels. These are like your control center. You can find all the control for working with images, colors, pathfinders, stroke, you name it. Okay, so feel free to click all the buttons just to get familiarized with it. So quick recap, menu bar is the main navigation bar for all the function in Illustrator. Option bar shows you the tool-specific options. The Tools panel is like a toolbox for editing tools. The document area is where you edit your image. And panels provide all the controls that you need for image manipulation. Alright, so these are the 5 key sections that you need to know about Illustrator. Now if you're a Mac user or using different version of Illustrator, you might notice there is no option bar, and your toolbar looks like this. In this case, go to Window, select Control to turn on the option bar. And you should see it now. Next, let's change the toolbar. Go to Window again, select Toolbar, and choose Advanced. And this will turn on all the tools that you need. Alright, now for the latest update version, you might see a taskbar appear every time you select certain tools like this. To hide it, click on the 3 dots and select Hide Bar. And if you want to use it in the future, go to Window and select Contextual Taskbar to turn it on. But for this tutorial, we're going to turn it off. Alright, so these are some of the differences in the Mac version. Next, you can also personalize your layout by clicking and dragging the Tools panel. You can easily reattach them when you see the blue lines appear. Okay, so feel free to rearrange all the panels according to your preference. And you can even select and move multiple panels and reattach them as a group. Now, if you go to the Window menu, you will find all the panels over here. You can enable any panel that you want, but I'm going to enable the Layer panel. So here's the Layer panel. You can detach it by dragging it out from the panel, or you can even disable it by clicking X. Alright, next, let's talk about the workspace setups to customize your workspace. Okay, now click on Window in the menu bar, select Workspace, and you will find choices like Automation, Essentials, and so on. But for now, I'm just going to select the Layout option. As you can see here, the workspace has changed to layout mode. Okay, now let's try typography mode. Now let's try painting and proofing modes. Okay, so this is how you can change the workspace. Now let's go back to the essential classic mode. Okay, now let's create your custom workspace. Click Window on the menu bar, select New Workspace. A small window will pop up and you can key in your custom name for your workspace. Now sometimes you might be moving around the panels while you're editing. Just in case you mess up your workspace, you can always reset it. Simply go to Window again, select Workspace and choose Reset. And if you want to delete the Workspace preset, go to Window again, select Workspace and choose Manage Workspace. Pick on the Workspace preset that you want to delete and click on the trash bin icon to delete. Alright, as you can see, your Workspace preset has been deleted. Okay, so that's all for the workspace setup. Next, let's talk about artboards. Basically, artboards is the area where you design your artwork. Click on the artboard icons on the Tools panel, and you will see a blue dotted line around the existing artboard. Okay, now to create a new artboard, simply click on the gray area and drag it into the shape and the size that you want. On the Properties panel, you can adjust the orientation of your artboard, whether you want it to be landscape or portrait mode. You can also rename it and choose a different preset. Currently, I'm using a custom preset, but you have a list of presets here to choose from. Okay, now select the iPhone X preset, and here you can design the iPhone X wallpaper right away. Okay, now let's resize this into a square. Alright, now let's try to create a circle on the artboard. I'm going to cover how to create custom shape in the next chapter, but for now, let's click on the ellipse tool. If you don't see the ellipse icon, it will be a rectangle icon. Simply long press on the rectangle icon and you will see it. Once you select the ellipse icon, click and drag while holding down the Shift key to create a circle. Now by default, the shape is always attached to the artboard. If you want to detach the shape from the artboard, go to Option bar and click on this icon to disable it. Right now, once you disable it, you can move your artboard freely. So before we wrap up this lesson, I just want to quickly introduce you to the selection tool. It is located right at the top left corner of the tools panel. This tool allows you to choose the object that you want to edit or move around. And you'll be using these tools a lot in the future lesson. Okay, so that is all for this lesson. In the next one, you'll be learning basic tools and navigation. Alright, I'll see you there. Welcome back to another lesson. In this lesson, you're going to learn basic navigation tools. So first, let's understand how to open a project file in Illustrator. To open an Illustrator file, simply click on the file in the menu bar. Then click Open and select the file of your choice on your computer. As you can see here, I've opened up two different project files. Illustrator allows you to work on multiple projects at once. So if you want to work on multiple files at once, simply just click on the tab to switch between both project files. Now on the upper right corner, you will see a rectangle icon. And this icon allows you to arrange your project windows. As you can see, you have a list of options like Consolidate All, Hide All in Grid, Hide All Vertically, 2-ups, and so on. So let's click on the 2-ups option. Now as you can see, you can work on your project with a side-by-side view. And you can also switch it up to a top-down view by clicking this icon again. Alright, so this option is very useful, especially when you're working multiple projects at once. Okay, now let's talk about the shortcut keys in Illustrator. But before that, make sure you download the shortcut key tips from the resource folder. Okay, now there are many shortcut keys in Illustrator. These are some of the basic ones that you must learn to boost your productivity. The shortcut key that you see on the screen is for window use. If you're using a Mac, simply replace the Control button to the Command button. Alright, now let's try the first shortcut keys. Hold Control button and press hyphen for zoom out. The more you press hyphen, the further you zoom out. And if you want to zoom in, simply hold Control and press plus to zoom in. Next, press Ctrl and 0 to reset to the full extent of the page. Now let's say I've created a circle and I want to undo it. Just hold Ctrl and press Z to undo the action. And this is how you can undo an action. And if you hold Shift, Ctrl and press Z, it will redo the previous action for you. And the last one is panning. All you have to do is hold the spacebar button and click around the document area, and this will allow you to pan around the document area. Right now, there are many ways to zoom in Illustrator. Instead of using the shortcut keys, you can also use the magnifier tools to zoom in and out on your document area. Okay, now in the previous lesson, I've mentioned the selection tool. So again, the black arrow icon is a selection tool. These tools allow you to select any object in Illustrator. Right, so I'm just going to create a circle. And to select an object, all you have to do is use the selection tool and click on it. You can select the text, you can select the object, you can select anything as long as it is within the document area. So next, the white arrow icon is the direct selection tool. Now the selection tool and the direct selection tool are different things. When you select an object with the direct selection tool, you will see a blue line around the object. These indicate the object is being selected, and these points around the object are called anchor points. So with the direct selection tool, you can click on the anchor point and reshape the object the way you want it to be. Okay, so that's the function of direct selection tool. Alright, next, I just want to quickly explain the differences between a vector image and a raster image. They both may look similar, but they are actually different. On the right is a raster image, or you can call it a PNG file. This image format is usually an exported image from Illustrator. As you can see, when I zoom in too much, it will lose the pixel quality. On the other hand, the one on the left is a vector image, and this is the image format that we are editing in Illustrator. When you zoom in, the image will not lose the pixel quality. Now, a vector image can be added to whatever you like. So I'm just going to rearrange the circle, right-click, and select Ungrouped. As you can see, I can remove all the layers and re-edit to whatever I want. But a raster image is a final exported image, which cannot be edited. So that's the difference between both images format. Alright, so that is all for this lesson. I hope you learned something new, and in the next lesson, you will learn how to create basic shapes. Alright, I'll see you there. Alright, so welcome to chapter 2. In this chapter, you're going to learn how to create and combine shapes, utilize alignment and rulers, understand transform control, and organize layers. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Alright, so welcome back to another lesson. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to create some basic shapes. As you can see on the left, we have a list of shapes, and we're going to recreate all of them. So first, go to the tool panel, and you will see a rectangle icon. Long press on it, and you will see a list of shapes that you can choose to create. Now select the rectangle tool, just click and drag to create a rectangle. Now to create a square, all you have to do is click and drag and hold down the shift key. Now long press on the rectangle tool and select the ellipse tool. Now let's use the ellipse tool to create an oval. And if you want to create a circle, all you have to do is hold down the shift key, click and drag with the ellipse tool. Now let's try the star tool. Just click and drag to create a star. You can rotate it to any angle that you want. Okay, now let's try the polygon tool. Just click and drag, and by default, it will create an hexagon. So if you want to create a triangle or a pentagon, all you have to do is press the down button to decrease the angle. Same goes to the star tool. By default, you will get a 5-pointed star. So if you want to change it, you can press up or down to increase or decrease the star point. Now let's try to create a rounded rectangle. Right, so we have learned how to create basic shape. Now let's learn how to apply color to your shape. As you can see on the bottom of the tool panel, there is an icon called Fill and Stroke. And this allows you to choose whether you want to apply color into your fill or your stroke. So click on it to switch between fill to stroke, or simply just press X for shortcut. Now let's select this rounded square, click on the fill icon, and you can choose any color from this color picker window. Okay, now let's select blue and press OK. And that is how you can change the color of your shape. Now let's change the stroke color. Stroke basically means the outline of your shape. So click on it, let's select yellow color, and click OK. So you may not see the yellow stroke because it is too thin, Now what you can do is go to the option bar and increase the stroke weight. Okay, so this is a little bit too thick. Let's put 10. Now there is another way to change the color of the shape, is by using the eyedropper tool. So basically this tool allows you to copy and paste a color from a shape without using the fill and the stroke tool. So first, select the yellow circle and click on the eyedropper tool. Then use the eyedropper tool and click on the red circle. Whichever shape you click, the color will change accordingly. You can also press I for shortcut to use the eyedropper tool. Right now, practice resizing the shape and move the shape around as an exercise. So just copy exactly what I'm doing right now to rearrange the shape. And the exercise file is available to download from the resource folder. And if you want to select multiple shapes together, simply just click and drag over all the shapes that you want. Alright, now select 3 of these shapes and press Ctrl and C to copy. And if you're on a Mac, press Command C. Now press Ctrl and V to paste. And this is how you can copy and paste multiple shapes at once. Okay, now let's rearrange and resize the shape the same way as the reference on the left. Okay, now once you're done resizing, select the red circle, go to option bar, and lower down the opacity. Okay, so I'm just going to put 50%. Now let's do the same for the triangle as well. Next, let's copy and paste the circle and increase the opacity to 80%. Next, click on the stroke icon and select blue color. Now click on the fill icon and change to transparent color. Now use the ellipse tool to create a circle. Now go to option bar and increase the stroke weight. Let's put 20 and lower down the opacity. Alright, so that is all for this lesson. I hope you learned something new and remember to keep practice. And on that note, I will see you in the next one. So welcome to our alignment and rulers lesson. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to align shapes. As you can see on the screen, there are a few random shapes. Now instead of arranging all the shapes precisely and manually, it's going to take us some time to do it. So Illustrator came up with a tool for you to align and arrange the shapes easily. And it is called the Align tool. So first, go to Window and select Aligned, and the window will pop up with the Align setting option. Select the group of shapes and click on the Align Left option. Now as you can see, all the shapes has been aligned to the left. You can also align it to the center or align it to the right. Now let's select all these shapes. Now let's try to click Align Top, Align to Bottom, and Align to the center. Next, select all the shapes and click on the Align to Key Object icon. Then select the object that you want to align it to. So I'm just going to select the red circle, and here you can key in the spacing. Now let's put 20. The lower the number, the closer the spacing will be, and the higher the number, the bigger the spacing will be. Right now let's put 150 and you can see the difference. Okay, now let's select all the shapes on the left and try the vertical spacing. Now all you have to do is click on this vertical spacing icon. Okay, so go ahead and experiment with it with different spacing and numbers. Now go to the menu bar and select View and make sure the Smart Guides is turned on. Now as you can see, when I move the triangle around, you will see a purple line, and this is what we call the Smart Guides. It will show you the alignment of your objects and also the distance between the object that you moved. So in this exercise, try to move all the objects into one line like this. Now go to the menu bar and select View and select Snap to Pixel. Okay, now let's zoom in. Now let's try to move the yellow rectangle to the edge of the circle. As you can see, it will not stick perfectly because the Snap to Pixel option only allows you to move pixel by pixel. Alright, so if you want to move the shape around, instead of using the moving by pixel, go to View and turn off the Snap to Pixel. And now you can move the rectangle freely again. Alright, so try to follow along as an exercise and move all the shapes into one line like this. Now let's press Ctrl and R to activate the ruler feature. Or you can go to menu bar and select View, Ruler and Show Ruler. And you will see the ruler appear in the edge of the document area. So when you click on it, you will see the option to choose whether you want to measure in pixel, points, inches, and so on. But for now, we're going to use the points option. Now this is how to use it. All you have to do is click and drag from the ruler, and you will see a line that you can measure. So you can follow along and try to use both sides of the rulers and align your object like this. Alright, so if you want to delete the ruler, all you have to do is select the lines and press delete. Now let's delete this line as well. Alright, now press Ctrl Z to undo to bring back the line. Alright, now try to copy exactly what I'm doing right now as an exercise, and you will learn how to align objects with rulers easily. Now instead of using the rulers as a guide, you can also use the shape as a guide to align things. Now let me show you how to do it. Select the triangle and go to View, select Guides and Lock Guides. Now select the triangle again, go to View, Guides and Make Guides. Now this triangle has become a guideline, and you can start using it as a guide to align your design. Now if you want to delete the guides, simply go to menu bar, select View, select Guides and Clear Guides. Alright, now if you want to try and go back, simply undo it, go to menu bar, press View, select Guides and Release Guides. Alright, so one last thing I want to introduce you is the grids. Now to activate the grid, all you have to do is go to View and select Show Grid. Now as you can see, the background has turned into a grid. Now go to menu bar, select View, and here, make sure the Snap to Grid is turned on. Now when you move the object, it will snap to the grid like a Lego. And this feature will help you to design with correct alignment. Alright, so try to follow along and resize the shape with the grid line. And if you want to change your settings, all you have to do is go to Preference and select Guides and Grids. And here you can change the color and the settings of your guidelines. Now let's try to change it to red color. Now let's put 120 to change the size of the grid. Alright, now as you can see on the screen, the grids has become bigger and the guidelines has become red color. Alright, so this is how you can use alignment and rulers in Illustrator. So that is all for this lesson. I hope you learned something new, and on that note, I'll see you in the next one. Alright, so welcome back to another lesson. In this lesson, we're going to talk about the selection tool and transform control. In the previous chapter, I've mentioned the selection tool briefly, but in this lesson, I'm going to explain a little bit more detail about it. As we know, the selection tools allows us to select an object. Okay, so this is how you can select and move the object around. Now, if you want to select multiple objects, simply just hold down the Shift key and select the object that you want. Now, there are times when objects overlap, making it hard for you to select or even causing you to select the wrong one. In such cases, you should lock the object. Alright, so let's try to lock this gray color square at the back. Select the square, go to the menu bar, click Object, select Locked, and click Selection. Now the gray color square is being locked, and you can move the other objects freely. Now if you want to unlock it, simply go to menu bar and click Object, and select Unlock All. Now the gray square is free to move again. Alright, now let me introduce you another method to select multiple objects more efficiently. Now let's say you want to select all the circle at once. Simply just click on one circle, go to the menu bar, click Select, then choose Saved, and click Appearance. And the Illustrator will automatically select all the similar circles for you, and all you have to do is move them away. Now you can also use the Magic Wand tool to select multiple similar objects at once. Let's select the triangle and delete them all together. Now let's delete the white circle as well. Alright, so this is how you can use the Magic Wand tool. Now let's say I want to keep only the yellow square in the middle. Instead of deleting all the objects one by one, now what you can do is select the square, go to the menu bar, click Select, then choose Inverse, and press Delete. And there you go, as simple as that. Alright, next, let's try to use the Lasso tool. Now the Lasso tool allows you to draw around and select objects, especially when you're dealing with complex design elements. Okay, so once you're done selecting, just click Delete. And this is how you can use the Lasso tool. Now as you can see on the screen, there are 3 different shapes. When I move the triangle to the square, the triangle appears to be behind the square. And this happened because Illustrator works in layers. Each new object that you create, it will always be on top of the previous one. In this case, I've created the triangle first, and then the square, which is why it appears that way. But you can actually change the arrangement. Let's say I want to put the square behind the triangle. All you have to do is select the square, right-click, go to Arrange, and select Send to Back. And you can also bring it back to the front as well. Alright, so go ahead and explore all the Arrange option. Alright, next, let's talk about the bounding box. Any shape that you create in Illustrator will have this bounding box. Now if you don't see it, all you have to do is go to View, and you will see the bounding box option. You can turn it off like this, or turn it on. But make sure it's always turned on because it's one of the most useful features in Illustrator. Now if you take a closer look, you will see these tiny dots around the bounding box. And these dots control the roundness around the square. So let's use the Direct Selection tool, click and drag the tiny dots into the lower corner. Alright, so this is how you can change the roundness of the angle. So next, let's talk about the Rotation tool. Select the Rotation tool at the tool panel, and now select the object that you want to rotate. So all you have to do is click and turn it. Now if you press Shift and rotate, it will always rotate to a fixed angle. Now if you want to change the rotation angle, all you have to do is change the position of the dots. The object will rotate wherever the dot is. Alright, so that is all for the rotation tool. Now let's go to Window and select Transform. And this is the Transform panel. Alright, now select the object, and the Transform panel will show you the details of the object. And here I can key in any numbers to change the radius. Alright, so I'm just going to put 30. You can see the difference between before and after. Now let's put 50 to make it a little bit more obvious. So this is how you can change the radius equally. Now if you want to change the radius separately, all you have to do is click on this icon. And now you can change the radius individually. Alright, now let's click on this icon again and scale this object bigger. Now notice when I scale this object, the stroke will never change the size. It always remains the same size. Now if you want to change the stroke size when you're scaling, then all you have to do is select the Scale, Stroke and Effects option. Now as you can see when I scale it, the stroke size will change accordingly. Alright, so that is all for this lesson. I hope you learned something new and remember to keep practice. And on that note, I'll see you in the next one. Welcome back to another lesson. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to combine basic shapes into complex design to take your work to another level. Alright, so first go to Window, select Pathfinder, and the Pathfinder window will pop up. And here, as you can see, you have a list of options to choose from. And we're going to explore 4 different methods to combine shapes, which are Unite, Minus Front, Intersect, and Exclude. Now as you can see on the screen, I have a red circle overlapping the yellow square. And at the bottom, I have a yellow square overlapping the red circle. Now select both of the shapes, go to Pathfinder and select Unite. Now both of the shapes will combine into one. Alright, now once both of the shape has combined, it will follow the color of the top layer shape, and that's why it is red. Now let's combine the bottom pairs of the shapes. Now it turns into yellow because the top layer shape is yellow. So as you can see, both pairs have combined into one similar shape but with different colors. The colors always depends on the top layer shape colors. Alright, now let's try the next feature. Select both shapes and click Minus Front. Now the front circle has been removed, creating this abstract shape. Now let's try the bottom one. Select both shapes and click Minus Front. Now the rectangle has been removed. So remember, Minus Front will always remove the front shape. Okay, so let's try to select the next pair of the shapes and click Intersect. And these features will only remain what is in between both shapes. Alright, now let's try another pair. As you can see, the half circle is yellow because the yellow square is on top of the circle. Alright, now let's try the final one. Select both shapes and click Exclude. And anything in between both shapes will be removed. Alright, it's pretty straightforward. Alright, so that is all for the shape modes features in Pathfinder. Okay, so at the bottom of the Pathfinder panel, you will see 6 different options. Divide, Trimmed, Merge, Cropped, Outlined, and Minus Backed. These tools will help you to create more complex shapes. So first we have Divide. Select all the shapes and click Divide. This option allows you to split overlapping shapes into separate pieces where they intersect. Now the second one we have Trimmed. To use the trim features, select all the shapes and click Trimmed. This option cuts one shape using another. It's almost like using a scissors cutting a paper. Okay, so just a quick reminder, if you have your stroke turned on, the trim option will always remove the stroke. Alright, now the third one we have Merge. Select overlapping shapes and click Merge. This action combines the shapes into one single shape, creating a unified object. So next we have Cropped. To use it, select all the shapes and click Cropped. And this feature will cut off the extra part of a shape outside the boundary. It's almost like framing a photo. Alright, now let's talk about the fifth option. Now select all the shapes and click Outlined. These features will convert all the shapes into one editable stroked object. Alright, now select the shape again and increase the stroke weight. Okay, now the last one is Minus Backed. As you can see, I have my blue triangle in front of all the other shapes. For Minus Backed, select all the shapes and click Minus Backed. This action will remove all the overlapping shapes at the back, leaving what is in front. Alright, so that is all for the Pathfinder panel. Right, so make sure you keep practicing. This feature will be very useful in the future lesson. So next, let's talk about the sharper tool. It is located right at the tool panel. So just roughly draw a shape that you want, and it will turn into a perfect shape. Okay, now let's draw a square. Now let's draw a circle. Next, draw a rectangle. Right, now let's draw a hexagon. And the last one, let's draw an oval. You can create any shape that you want with this tool. You can also merge and remove overlapping areas like this. Okay, as you can see, all the shapes has combined into one. Right, now let's try the next one. And there you go, as simple as that. Alright, now let's talk about the Shape Builder tool. So first, select all the shapes and click on the Shape Builder tool from the tool panel. And this tool will allow you to create new shape by combining and erasing part of it. As you hover on top of all the shapes, you will see it allows you to manipulate certain parts. Just click and drag over all the shapes and it will combine into one. And this is how you can merge multiple shapes into one single shape easily. Now, if you want to delete a specific area, all you have to do is hold the Alt key and click it. And just like that, you have created an abstract shape. So be creative, try to remove different parts with different shapes and see what you will get. Alright, next, just follow exactly what I'm doing as an exercise. Okay, delete this part, and this part as well. Okay, now let's duplicate it. Select both of the shapes and rotate it. Now stack it on top. Now split it into half. Put this right here. And here as well. And there you go. And this is how you can play with the shapes and create something cool. Alright, so that is all for this lesson. I hope you learned something new and enjoyed this lesson. And on that note, I'll see you in the next one. Alright, so welcome back to another lesson. In this lesson, you're going to learn about transform again. So first, go ahead and download and open this file from the resource folder. Now select all the shapes on the screen, right click, and you will see all the options in transform. And we're going to explore all of them. Right, now let's try with the first one. Click move, and you will see a move panel pop up. And here you can adjust where you want to move your object precisely. You can adjust the angle and position both horizontally and vertically. And at the bottom here, you have two options to choose from, either copy or OK. So if you click copy, it will create a copy. And if you just click OK, it will just move without creating a copy. Alright, as you can see, we have created a copy. Now press Ctrl D and Illustrator will repeat the last transformation. So it's kind of like a quick redo button for transformation, okay? You can transform again as much as you want. Now the next one is rotate. Select the object, right click, go to transform, and click rotate. Alright, I'm just going to put 90 degree and click copy. Now press Ctrl and D to transform again, and you will create something like this. Okay, now moving on, we have reflect. Select the object, right click, go to transform, and click reflect. And here you can adjust whether you want it to be horizontal or vertical, and also the angle. Just click copy, and you will create something like an hourglass. Next, select the object, right click, go to transform, and select scale. And this option allows you to scale the current object. So I'm just going to put 80%, so it will be 20% smaller than the current size. Now click copy, and press Ctrl D. And you will create something like a wine glass. Right, now the last one is shear. Again, select the object, right click, go to transform, and click shear. So I'm just going to put 15 degree shear angle and click copy. Now you can see the shear effect. Okay, now just press Ctrl and D to transform again. And you will create something abstract like this. So if you follow the lesson correctly, you will get something like this. Alright, so just be creative, try to use different shapes and colors and see what you will get. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and on that note, I will see you in the next one. Alright, so welcome back to another lesson. In this lesson, we're going to talk about layers and how to organize object. So first, go ahead and download and open this file from the resource folder. Now go to Window and select Layer, and you will see the layer panel appear. Now I want you to think of layers in Illustrator is like making a sandwich. Each layer is a different ingredient that comes together to create a perfect sandwich, alright? Now in the layer option, you can arrange, hide, and show whatever you want. The key is to keep your artwork organized. Okay, now as you can see, I have different layers and different objects in my artwork. The background, sun, mountains, rivers, and birds are all in different layers. So first, let's learn how to hide a layer. The hide button looks like an eye icon in the layer panel. And all you have to do is click on it, and it will make the layer disappear and reappear again. And then the next one, you have the lock button. Click on the empty box to lock your layers, and this will protect you from accidentally deleting or messing up your layer. Okay, you can lock as many layers as you want. Okay, now as you can see, the background layer is currently being locked, and no matter how I click it, it will not move. And this is how you can lock a layer. Okay, now let's unlock all the layers. Now at the bottom of the layer panel, you will see a trash bin icon. And this is the delete button. Now to delete a layer, simply select the layer that you want to delete and click on the trash bin icon to delete it. Alright, now if you accidentally delete a layer, you can always press Ctrl and Z to undo and bring it back. Now if you click on the arrow next to the layer, it will expand and show you all the details within that layer. So this is a great way to access and manage the object within a specific layer, especially when you're working on a large project with a lot of layers. Okay, now go ahead and click through all the buttons that I've mentioned to get used to it. The most important thing in this lesson is to get you to understand how to hide, lock, and delete layers. And this will help you to become more comfortable and efficient with managing layers in Illustrator. Next, you can double click on the layer, and the layer option will appear. And here, you can change the name and the color as well. And this will help you to keep your artwork organized and easy to be identified. Now create a new layer by clicking the plus button. Click on the layer and rename it to Star. Then use the Star tool to draw a star on top of it. And this is how you can create artwork on top of each layer. Now click on this icon to create a sublayer. A sublayer is like a smaller layer within the bigger one. Okay, now let's create another star within the sublayer. And this is how you can use layer to keep things organized. Alright, so I hope you learned something new in this lesson, and on that note, I will see you in the next one.